If you have been posting nonstop on platforms like Instagram and Facebook, and/or you've run that lovely start-stop pattern for years on end, then I really want to have a conversation with you. And then the question that we want to answer is whether or not Instagram marketing and our Facebook marketing are worth it in 2025 and beyond. And more importantly, how does SEO marketing compare to something like Instagram or Facebook, when each one is beneficial, and how to choose what's right for you. Let's go ahead and dive on in. So the first thing I want to tackle is understanding when social media really plays a role in your business and your marketing and your efforts, and when SEO plays a role in your business, your marketing, and your growth efforts. The first thing that I want to tackle is the reason why most people tend to heavily focus on things like social media marketing, and why most folks don't ever really consider or even think about the idea of what SEO is. The biggest reason is because it sounds really technical and complicated and hard. A lot of times we hear these ideas that it takes a lot of effort, there's so many hours that go into it, it's so much hard labor. Of course, the worst part is it takes so long to actually get traction. Now, though there might be components of truth tied into that, it's not actually exactly true. And especially not if we take it into something compared to Instagram or Facebook, where you're constantly pouring into it and you're constantly showing up online with little to no return. So when does each platform make sense? What purpose does it serve? And how do you choose between which one you want to use? Or is it a combination of both? Instagram and Facebook, you want to consider, are what we call attention merchant business models. I have a full blog of this. I linked down in the description below where I go really deep into unpacking how social media makes money, how it's profitable if you have a free platform. And one of the things that you need to consider or take into consideration if you are using social media is how do you use it like a business owner, not like a consumer, right? How do you use it like a creator to where it's growing your business, not just on there scrolling all of the time and trying to benefit from the platform, but not making a whole lot of profit off of it. Social media is really great for brand awareness. It can be a really wonderful tool for staying connected, for building an audience, for being engaged, a quick way to share your thoughts, your feelings, what you want to say, things that are coming up, updates, events. And it's not the easiest place to build a platform if your sole purpose is not to be a content creator. If your only goal is to be a content creator, somebody who's getting paid essentially to create content on social media, building brand deals, brand partnerships, amazing. But if that's not your goal, if your goal is to actually build a product-based business, a service-based business, to sell courses, to do keynote speaking, to have people coming into your shop, whether they're buying products from you, wine, food, they're coming in and getting services done, whatever that is. In order for people to find you, to know that you exist, they need to be able to find you through search. They need to be able to know that you exist. And the thing that's challenging about social media to date, the time of this recording, SEO is not built into Instagram and Facebook. You can't really search for something and have it show you option like you would if you were to go to Google. When you go to Google and you search for something, you're going to see a list of ideas, shops, places, businesses that are going to come up literally on the map that are closest to you in proximity, or that are most relevant to you based on what you're searching for. That is how you get found as a business owner, especially as a small business owner who's just getting started. You want to get on the map. Now, social media does play a role because, of course, you want to have brand awareness, you want to be able to connect with your audience, and you don't want to overly rely on it. You don't want to neglect being able to get found by trying to maintain what you've started to build. So it's a both and conversation. Now, the next question becomes, okay, well, what do you prioritize? At what stage do you focus on things like SEO marketing, search, getting found, versus something like social media where you're building brand awareness? It depends on what your goals and your priorities are and what your time allots for. One of the biggest things that I really wish I would have done differently had I known better back when I first started in 2015, 2016 is started with SEO marketing, started with building up my brand, started with actually creating search-based content instead of fixating on Instagram and Facebook. Though it was profitable for the time period, I learned the hard way, like many business owners do, that when you stop posting and you stop showing up 24/7 online, everything starts to slow down and it's a lot harder to get back in. Now, with search, the thing that's really beautiful about this is the content that you create on Google, on your site, for your business, for your brand, it lives there forever. It's not like a social media post where you post it and then it's gone and then people have to find you through whatever means. And then of course they can go and scroll your feed and find your content, but they're only gonna find your content after they found you. The only way they're gonna find you is if you have the reach and engagement through consistently posting more and more people are coming to your page. Whereas with Google, with search engine optimized content, people are searching for what you're doing. They're going towards you. They're coming into your world. It's called inbound marketing. They're coming into your world. They're finding you and they're going ahead and purchasing from you. It can be blogs that you've written years ago SEO. It can be your homepage, your sales page, different content that's been optimized, and you show up on the map. Now, of course, we want customers to stay connected. We want to build a brand. That brand building happens not just from search, it happens from what you create in your physical or digital atmosphere. That's where things like social media, things like Instagram, things like Facebook can be really powerful. Now, I have taken a stance over the last 5 years-ish about not having to be reliant on social media, about building a social media optional business. And I do think that it's something that is still really important. That being said, it's not to say that it doesn't play a part. It doesn't mean that it can't be a part of what you do or part of what you're creating. The thing that I like to focus on, though, is that it shouldn't be the only thing that you're doing. And I still stand by that. And the reason being is that you don't actually own your social media. I can't tell you the number of clients and people who come into my world who find me, whether they've gotten shadow banned or they've lost their social media or they lost all this access, and then it feels like the entire world has crumbled because their entire business was based on a social media platform, on Instagram, on Facebook, and now they're banned. They have no way to get in contact with their audience. Now, obviously, email marketing is a big piece of this, but you have to build your email list, and people can't get on your email list if they can't find you if you don't have social media for them to find you from there, or you're not getting put on Google. So the thing that you want to remember, what we're talking about here, regardless of what industry you're in, regardless of what services you sell or what products you sell or what it is that you're doing, you want to make sure that you do have SEO baked into your business process, into your strategy. SEO, digital marketing, when it comes to Google, when it comes to people finding you online. If you're not wanting to pay advertising costs, if you're not wanting to pay for Google ads or Facebook ads or Instagram ads, then search-based marketing is one of the most important things that you can do. And it doesn't have to be really hard or really technical or really overwhelming. In fact, we actually built out an entire membership around helping people figure out how to do this for themselves, how to figure out what SEO marketing platforms make sense. Do you start a YouTube channel? Do you start a podcast? Is it blogging? All of that we cover, we teach. If you want to learn more about it, check out the link in the description down below. You can find out what we teach, what we do. But more importantly, you can also check out the free SEO workshop that I go more in depth into understanding how SEO works, what SEO marketing actually is, building a digital marketing strategy that is going to build for the long term, not just for the short term, and figuring out how you are not just creating and maintaining where you've been, how you're growing beyond that. And the way that I like to think about this, the way that I talk about this with clients, with peers, with friends, is that social media is kind of like having a job. You're able to create content and post, but if you're not creating content and posting, you're not getting paid. So you can't actually stop. Whereas SEO marketing, whether it's YouTube, whether it's podcasting, whether it's blogging, we won't get into the intricacies of that today, is like investing. It's content that compounds interest. So each piece of content that you create, it's like investing it in the stock market and it's gaining interest year after year, month after month. So you're still getting paid from that content years after you've created it. That's the difference. Now, it's not to say, again, that one you don't need and the other you don't need. They can work together, but it's also figuring out what makes sense for you, your business, your audience, your clients, and how you're going to best support them in what it is you're doing. Hopefully, you've gotten some clarity from this video. Hopefully, you're starting to see where social media, things like Instagram, can be supportive, the role that they do play as far as brand awareness, as far as building relationship and trust, having a really loyal community and connection. And you're also seeing the importance of how you get found, how people get to know you, what you're doing, what you're selling, the services that you're offering, so that you can grow your business without always having to be the one creating the content in your business. If you're curious, you want to learn more about what we do, as always, check out the links in the description down below. Or if you have questions, feel free to comment down below or reach out directly to our email. You can go to sassandseo.com for more information. Otherwise, my last little suggestion for you is to be sure to hit that subscribe button. And if you found this helpful, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate you being here, and I look forward to seeing you in future videos.